Hi guys, and welcome to monthly Lenormand reading. I'm just going to tell you quickly a little bit about Lenormand, just a minute. So Lenormand refers to two types of oracle decks, the Grand Jeu and Petit Jeu. The Grand Jeu, which is French for the big game, is based on a full deck of playing cards. So each card has a large variety of symbols, such as sometimes constellation, flowers, and Trojan War. But sometimes, like maybe you're familiar with my cards, where you have the lady holding a letter, where you have the rider, snake, and so on and so forth. The Petit Jeu Lenormand, French for the little game, is a deck of 36 cards. So cards images here are simple. As I said, a clover, a bear, a key, etc., right? This is a simplicity in this deck that really leads to cards not being read based on the picture nor the symbol, where in tarot every line actually has a meaning, and depending on combination, kind of like they end up having different meanings. Instead here, the meanings tied to the cards are fairly literal, such as luck for the clover and success for the key. Unlike the philosophical meanings where you have the keys, sort of like entry to the gateway to the spirituality, right? In this respect, Petit Jeu cards remind me of pictorial language, almost like Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? But keep in mind that both the Grand Jeu and Petit Jeu are like in that they use card combinations to expand on the meanings on the individual cards. So you see, each card has a meaning, but 1 + 1 doesn't make 2. 1 + 1 makes it like 5, and 1 + 1 + 1 makes it 15, and so on and so forth. When you put all 36 cards on the table, it is sort of like giving almost like overview on how the situation can be seen, and it can actually really give you different aspects and what is like behind you, what is aside from you, etc., etc. 36 cards, as I told you, has like so many different possibilities and meanings, and it really requires a skilled reader to do that. So anyway, I think we are going to attempt to do exactly that. So why don't you get ready, sit down, take your popcorn, and let's get into your reading. Love you. Hi Pisces, so let's check what we see here in your Lenormand reading. So first of all, Lenormand has two main significators, the lady, which is over here, and the gentleman, which is over here. Because this is a general reading, it can be interchangeable. So I'll be giving you different storylines, and you have to see how this really fits in your life. Now, it is kind of, I have to tell you, very interesting grand tableau. It is interesting because there is the heart, but there is the snake. So who's the snake, guys? I'm wondering, and it can be even for the some of you, again, this is guys getting energies from so many of you. So it almost looks like that somebody interfered with your life, maybe even got pregnant. This, however, can be very positive for the ladies that are dating ladies. Or actually, as I said, this is kind of interchangeable. This could be a guy. It could be a secret pregnancy as well, guys. So keep that in mind. It might end up in a shotgun wedding because the lady is in the storehouse. Literally, something can revolve really, really quick for you. So another interesting part is like to boot that here we also have the ring in the house of the heart over here, and the house of the heart is in the skies. So it's going to be a huge inner debate, guys, that you're going to have. Should I go forward, should I not go forward? Because this is the house of the skies, and then also you have the coffin here, right? So you see, it's going to be bittersweet kind of decision for the some of you how to go. There is, however, a third way. So it's always good to know that if you find yourself in either this direction or feeling, oh my gosh, everything is sort of like dead. In this particular direction, something is going to start really well. It's going to look like, oh my gosh, it's also fantastic. And then, bam, it's going to just like hit you. The revelation about somebody involvement or somebody. The snake could be the third party, absolutely, and it could be basically just that there is some kind of gossip happening. So it doesn't have to be necessarily involvement all the way, but there is certainly certain kind of like gossip that you're going to become very, very irritated about, right? And you're going to feel that this person is really somehow affecting your own reputation, or possibly your child's reputation, if you know, that applies. Now, what is kind of like really interesting is like that snake is like in the ship's house, which means it could be somebody who is not necessarily close by. Maybe your partner went on a trip and something happened there that you just don't know about yet, but you will find out. Or it could happen that this could be your relative. It literally can also mean distant relative. It can mean kind of like 2 degrees down as well. It could also mean that something will kind of like arrive to you which you basically didn't see happening, and something is basically already on its way. Now, this is extremely positive. So like for some of you is going to go, oh, everything is going so great, and pam. For the others will go, oh, this is such a big disaster, like one problem after another. Especially there are going to be so many money problems, but that's going to end well. It's kind of really kind of weird, but there is the third way which you can take, which is not going to be simply easily visible, and it's kind of easy to get distracted with all these things. So if something like this happens, either you're like too happy and then kind of like cuts you at your knees, or you feel like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? It's always happening to me, kind of a thing. Look at here, you have the house, the dog, the key, the ship, the garden. So it looks like it's telling you, just ground yourself, just keep on going, right? Don't focus that you have to do everything right now, because the key is falling in your garden house. And garden is definitely, which you have it down the road here, but garden is like connected to people. So sort of like open yourself up to communication, open yourself up to receiving information, giving information, and close or far, whatever that kind of like can affect you, it's going to help you, right? The ship, which kind of here is happening, it's going to be a blimp on the radar because it's in the house of the mountain, which kind of like looks like you will sail through, but sort of like you'll be seeing left and right that you can actually go through, for those of you who find that kind of like little kind of like opening where you can go. But this is that little blimp. Again, it's going to be some kind of like influence of these kind of like things, but it's going to get resolved. It's going to get resolved, and it's going to end up with actually really, really happy ending. For some of you guys, this also can mean reunion, especially for those of you who maybe are dating somebody that you're working with, or somebody who is a professional, or somebody who's blonde or has gray hair. That's kind of like one, that's kind of like one side of kind of like February that I see. Well, there is another. Some of you have been faced recently, maybe as recent as January, with strong decisions. Some of you kind of like really wondered and still kind of like somehow in the clouds about how to go about that, right? Not only is this significator in the house of the clouds, but it's also knighting the clouds over here. So there is the willingness to kind of like settle down. Look at this, like anchor and garden, like kind of like let's kind of ground this dating. But there is also inclination to cut it. So again, we have this duality as well. And the duality I've seen in tarot readings, I'm seeing it now. Having said that, also here, really, I see that it's going to be kind of like a good opening, just like as some of you have this, the bouquet, which basically boy, I cannot talk today, signifies surprise. and a big luck, sort of like it's going to be kind of a breakthrough in a way that you're going to be very, very happy, even though when you get this breakthrough here, you still won't know all this kind of like information. Here, the clover is luck, just like as we know, four-leaf clover, right? But it's not a big luck. It's sort of like the day is happy for me. And you have the sun here. The clouds here are still sort of like the question about this, I don't know, arrangement. Honestly, I really see engagement for some of you, especially for those of you that there is somebody from the past, or there is somebody who you have been dating for quite a while, but you have experienced kind of like blimps on that basically highway when you're traveling with this person. But things might be actually getting better, because it sounds like to me that this person is maybe having their own issues, which kind of like could be concerned about with their own work, with how it's happening. They might have some work in the restaurants and ships with fish, because both the ship and the fish is connecting to this significator. This also can talk about willingness to be independent, willingness to either become self-employed, or to become sort of like contractor, where it's sort of like you have some kind of level of independence. So this is kind of going to be very interesting. Furthermore, I always look the cross, where the cross falls, because cross actually has, well, in most of Lenormand decks, negative meaning, sort of like, you know, this has to be almost like rigid kind of thing. But in your case, because this is the house of the cross, you have the stars, right? And this is the house of stars right here. I almost like see that for some of you, you are approaching mother karma. You are close to that about 2 months from now. And in 2 months, things will start to kind of like clear. Things will start to look up. And you really have to focus right now. And focus means when nobody's watching, do the right thing. Do not try to like take the like fast kind of like road and cut the corners, because that's simply going to cost you later. Because karma, especially this is in the house of the coffin. And so karma is saying that certain karmic debts now can be paid. You see, karmic debts keep us in the cycle. And it's, to translate in, let's say, psychology language, it's the pattern that we repeat and repeat and repeat. Or as Einstein said, like we just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Well, now it's the time to kind of like get that aha moment. Oh my God, I was doing that. Or that can be as simple as, hey, I didn't establish my boundaries. And you know what? This is no go. I need my space for myself. Like, just let me relax half an hour after work. Or, you know, I do want you to be more transparent. So something is just going to hit you, maybe something even simple, because the clover is not asking for some huge thing, but these kind of like small things could have been nagging things. And like, especially because you have the mice in the house of the anchor. For some of you, these small things you're realizing these small things can actually accumulate to big issues over the time, and looking into kind of these details. But needless to say, there is kind of like definitely stream that I see over here, that you guys are really going toward settling down, toward really finding your mate, and toward resolving that karmic kind of like cycle and going to the next level. So dear Pisces, if you're ordering the reading and you're interested to have the Lenormand part, just let me know in the form that you fill out. Thank you so much. Love you guys.